Hi guys, welcome back to another episode here on the podcast. I hope you guys are well and you're ready to delve into this episode, which, as you can see from the title, is all about friendships. Specifically, I want to talk about how friendships change and develop during our high school years and then as we grow older, as I know that a lot of people are struggling right now with, oh, I don't have any friends now that I'm in uni, and the whole kind of concept of friendships has changed recently. I'm going to start by looking back to my high school days. And I feel like a lot of us at high school tend to have one or two best friends, and then we're in kind of a bigger friendship group. And that is what happened to me. There was this one friend who is still one of my best friends, and she has stuck by my side throughout everything. And it is sad, but friends do change throughout high school. And I think we need to remember that as we all go through puberty, we all hit so many changes, and our friendships change drastically. We fall out with people, and we look back and we think, that we fell out for no reason. We were just being petty, emotional, dramatic, and I think that's fair enough to say because we're all going through changes, and at the time obviously we didn't realise it and we just think, oh, that girl's being a bitch. But looking back, I think we were all being bitches back then, and I still think that's absolutely fine because, as I said, we're going through changes at that time, so we didn't really realise what we're doing to affect other people. But if we're all doing it, personally I think that's okay, because again, it's just another learning curve, and as I always say, learning means growing. No matter how many kind of obstacles you hit on the way, you're always going to grow after something has happened, and you just grow into a stronger person. And I've realised that a lot with my friends. And during high school, you have a lot of fake friends, and that is a hard lesson to learn, especially when, I mean, for girls, when you hit about 14, 15 is when all of that happens, and you kind of realise who your true friends are. And that happened to me. Like, I had a best friend when I joined in year 7 at my school. She was new to the school. I was there since primary school, and we instantly became best friends because we loved all the same things. Like, we loved the same music. We both loved Twilight. That is a throwback. But we used to do sleepovers watching Twilight, like, every weekend. We would just always be at each other's houses, and we were best friends. And then she was also my twin sister's best friend. Like, we were like a little trio, and our parents were really good friends. We played hockey together, and yeah, like, we just were best friends. And then one day in year 9, so I was 14, 13, 14, 14, 15, sorry, and we just fell out. And to be fair, throughout those 3 years of being best friends, there was a lot of turmoil because we were very similar. We were both very dramatic. We were both very, I mean, at the time I was very selfish, and it was always about me and stuff. And I mean, I think everyone is at that time, but we just clashed a lot, and we fell out a few times. And what I didn't realise at the time is that hurt everyone else in our friendship group, because there was 5 of us in year 7 who were best friends in our class. Then they had friends from the outside, so our group was quite big. And just one day, I remember when we were then into the house system, so there was just like 16 of us, and there were 6 of us girls, and all of us girls were best friends. This was our little group, and I remember that we just fell out, and it was really hard for everyone else in the group because me and her were kind of like, I don't want to say like the leaders, but like we formed that group, if you know what I mean. Like, I hate saying stuff like that, but me and her were very close, and then it was like progressively getting worse and worse and worse between us. And just one day she just ditched us, the whole group, and everyone else in the group, the other 4 girls, were just so confused with what was happening, and I couldn't explain it either because at that point I actually did nothing wrong for once, and she just ditched us as friends and moved on to another house, other friends. And it was just really sad because then her parents stopped talking to my parents. They blamed me for various things, and I was like, I've done nothing wrong. She blamed all of our other friends for things that she's like mental health problems, and I was like, that is not us. And it was just a horrible experience to go through that. She just literally upped and left, like, with no explanation. She just didn't speak to us. I know she was going through a lot, but that doesn't mean that she can be an absolute bitch. And likewise, like, it's really hard when we're all going through quite a lot, and we take it out on other people, and especially at that age, we don't realise it, and we obviously don't mean it, but it does happen. And I think we need to be more mindful of that, and I think we all are growing up. Like, don't take out your problems on other people, and that's something that I did learn back then. So I think that's definitely a lesson I've learned since then. So me and her fell out, and we haven't really spoken since. We spoke once on the night that we got our A-level results, and we all went out into town, the whole year group went out, and I saw her then, and I spoke to her just kind of saying, oh, what uni are you going to? Just it just felt so weird that we used to be best friends, like literally inseparable, and then we were having this small talk conversation, and I felt so awkward, and I think she did too. But did she say anything? No, she did not say anything at all. And yeah, like I look back and think we were best friends, and she just left, and I still think about it because it's kind of sad, but I feel like this happens a lot with people, and we just kind of have to get over it. And luckily, I mean, I didn't just have one best friend at school. And I know some people do have that, and it is really hard when they maybe move away to a different town, different country, you know, different school. And I do get that that is hard, because that happened to me and my best friend from school. When I left my original primary school, she felt really alone. And I, especially at the age of like 8 years old, I get how hard that would be. Anyway, I had other friends, is the moral of that story, I guess. And from year 9, I mean, that kind of happened in year 10, but I remember the boys in our house just came over to us, like, because we had a lot of meetings during, like, house time at the start of the day, where all of us girls would be taken to another room away from the boys to discuss feelings and stuff, when we had no idea what was going on. Me and this girl would have like shouting matches, because I'd be like, what the hell am I doing wrong? And then teachers would just kind of let it happen, and it was good to get our feelings out, but all the other girls would be there crying because they had no idea what was going on, and I didn't have any idea what was going on, but I thought I had to battle it when really I should have just let it go. But again, at that time, you don't know what's happening, so you don't let it go. And I just remember the boys were very like, they kept asking us like, guys, what the hell is going on? I thought you guys were like best friends. Like, why is there so much turmoil, and why has that girl now left our house? And it was really bad. And I remember some mornings I wouldn't go to my house room, I'd go to my sister's or even my brother's one day when it got so bad between the girls, because I thought they all hated me at one point. Again, being that kind of self-centered person I was back then. For like a good week, it was probably the worst week of my life during school, like friendship wise. And it was just really hard. I'm not going to go into the details of that. And I just thought they all hated me, when really no, they were just so confused. They didn't know whose side to be on. Not that there should be sides, but they were just being, like, they were just so confused. So then I remember one morning I didn't want to go to school. And my brother, who's an older brother, took me to his house room. And I think he was in, like, lower sixth or something. So again, it was very weird. And his house tutors were like, what is she doing here? And then we explained the whole story, and I then went home, I think at midday, because I was just so mentally like, I cannot be here. And that was the start of my like mental health days from school, and I took a lot of them off. But I see no problem with taking mental health days from school, because everyone needs them from time to time. Yeah, if it gets a lot, that's a problem. But, and I know you should like kind of rip the band-aid off and just do it, like do the hard things first kind of thing, like going to school. And yeah, it got really bad, I guess, but we're not talking about my mental health today for once. So, but yeah, like, I learned a lot of lessons back then, like, your friendships in high school are gonna change, but the one friend that I made in year 5 has always stayed the same, and I love that. And it is hard to meet up now, and I feel like we've just, as soon as we finish uni, as soon as we finish school, we just kind of changed this very mature friendship, where we just text like, hey, do you want to meet up for a coffee today? And I just feel so much more mature with her, because she isn't as wild as me, I guess. She kind of tames me, which is a really good balance. I want to say that she isn't crazy sometimes, but yeah, like, we are just like the perfect like best friends. Like, if I'm talking shit, if I'm being a bitch, she will tell me. Like, she will happily tell me. But she always said, when I was going through my bitchy phase, she always said, I'm gonna stick by you, because I really, really love honesty. And I was always honest, no matter if it was really rude. That was what, like, I was like, honesty is the best policy. So, and she just loved that about me. And like, I took shit from no one, like, she loved that about me. So we're still really good friends, and I'd say that she's my best friend. I've got 2 best friends, 3 best friends, maybe 4 best friends, but I've got 2 main ones, and she's definitely one of them. And I just love her so much for that she stuck by me throughout all of this. And because it was hard in high school, and I think in girl friendship groups this always happens, and this kind of thing always happens, and it is hard at the time. But then if you look back, you're like, it's just friends. Like, to be fair, it's not the end of the world if you don't have any friends at school. You've got people to talk to. It's not like you're literally alone in a classroom. You've got people there, and if you have that little inch of confidence to speak to the person next to you, because in most schools you know most of the year group, you know what I mean? And especially in your classes, maybe throughout GCSE you have the same class, A-levels you have the same class. So I get why people are nervous to speak to people, but honestly just go for it, because you never know who you might be friends with. Like, I was friends with some of the popular girls because I went to primary school with them, and I hate that. I hate that so much, the whole cliques at school. But we did have, like, I think I've spoken about it before, like, during COVID, so the last 2 years at school, my school had the great idea of putting huge marquees up around the school, like on the grassy bits and stuff, for each year group, to avoid people passing it on, which did work. I think that worked really well. But in there we had 4 corners, and that was it. And it was so bad. Like, if I walked past other year groups' marquees, everyone was kind of all over the place. Like, everyone was talking to each other. We had our group, which was the girls' group, and we, like, because in sixth form, we took on literally all the new girls. And in sixth form, like, a lot of new girls joined from, there was a girls' school that finishes at year 11. So we took on literally all of them. There was about, I think, eight of them that then joined our group. So then our group was really big, and we were the kind of, I don't know, middle group, I'll say. And then in one corner you had the popular people, the girls and the guys, and in another corner you had, like, the other popular girls who were kind of, like, on their side, just the girls. And then in one corner you had kind of, like, the nerds. So it was very much like American TV shows, and it was just really bad. And that marquee in the winter was horrible. They said that we'd have heaters. They were never turned on. And it was a way that you had to turn it on from, like, a main switch, so we couldn't, like, turn it on. And then we'd get shouted at if we were found in, like, our common rooms and stuff. But I was like, we cannot sit out here in, like, -2 degrees with tights on. You know what I mean? Like, we were in, like, workwear clothing. It wasn't like we were in the comfiest clothing. But then their decision was like, oh, you can wear, like, snow boots or Uggs to school. And I was like, that's not going to help. But then at that point in my life, I was going through a lot. And I was that small that I was obviously cold all the time. So I just ended up coming in for the rest of the school year, even in May, because I was still that cold. I'd come in with my Uggs on. I would wear tights, so that was part of it, and my work skirt. But then I'd come in with the biggest oversized jumper, usually my sister's, my puffer coat, a hat on, and I just would not take that off in lessons. And then teachers did not care. Like, they were like, you've been through a lot, who cares? And it's true, like, if you're clever, you don't really get punished. So I think that was part of it. But I just remember, like, looking back, like, yeah, I was definitely going through a lot back then. But anyway, we've got sidetracked now. So in high school, your friendships change so much, as I said. And when the new girls joined in sixth form, I made, again, more, like, lifelong friends from there. And I just kind of, I did change my friendships a lot. And I was friends with kind of everyone in my classes as well. Like, I had, in my Spanish class in A-level, there was just me and another girl and then 4 other boys. So me and her were, like, best mates in the class, and we, like, met up for coffees and stuff, and we talked quite a lot. Again, like, she was a new girl as well, so I talked to her quite a lot. Then in my German class, there was 4 of us girls, and we were, like, best mates during that, because it was just funny, because we had male teachers as well, so it was just the funniest time, to be fair, like, together. And then in my Latin class, again, us 3 girls, like, and they were, like, these classes were all different people, which I loved. Like, I didn't have the same person in each class, which I absolutely loved, so I got to spend time with them, like, in different times of the day, and I thought that really worked well, that I had all these different groups. And then, I mean, in most of these classes, I had, like, those girls were in my group at like, school, like, our friendship group, so I did speak to them quite a lot. But my best friend, we had no classes together, ever, apart from in year 7, so it was kind of hard that we were never in classes together, and especially in geography, GCSE, we really wanted to be together, but we weren't. But that kind of just shows that you don't have to be in the same class as your best friend, and, like, you will still be friends, you know what I mean? Because you see each other in break times and everything, and yeah, that's why I think that we've stuck together, because it's not like we see each other all the time either, because I'm off doing my own things. She didn't go to uni. She's got a really good job, a really well-paying job now, down in Dorset. So that's really far from us. And so we barely see each other. But, you know, like, I get it, and we're just really good friends. But obviously I'd love to see her more. But I think that's why it works when we do see each other, because we have so much then to catch up on. And yeah, like, I just think you don't need to see your best friend all the time. Like, my other best friend, from when I was, like, age 2, who lives literally a minute drive away. Where I am, we're just outside the village, down, like, the country lane, and she lives in the village, which is, like, across the main road. So it's, like, I'd say, like, a 3-minute drive away, but it's, like, a half-hour walk away, you know what I mean? Like, it's really not far, but we do not see each other at all. And we see each other maybe once a month, which is really bad, even though we live, like, not far away, and she still lives at home, I'm living at home. And yeah, but to be fair, we did fall out. I'm not going to talk about that story, but we fell out like horribly last year. It was about like a year and a half, and in May we made up, and it was kind of all me. I was going through a dark place. I pushed her away and kind of just deleted her as a friend, and that's really sad looking back on. I didn't mean to do that again. But again, I was going through stuff. But again, I'm older now, so I should know that it does affect other people. So I do apologise for that, and I have apologised many times to her. But now, like, because she's like my friend who loves drinking and loves clubbing, whereas my other best friend doesn't really do that. So I meet her like a Friday night at the local pub for a few drinks, and we might go out clubbing one Saturday night, and yeah, like that's kind of our friendship. And she's a hairdresser as well, so she gets Mondays off. I usually have a Monday off, so that's just kind of perfect for us. But yeah, like we do not see each other that often, and again, I just think it shows your best friend should be someone that you don't see that often. And sure, at uni I've kind of got one, I don't want to say best friend, but like one good friend at uni. And I've spoken about her before, and all of last year we were in the same kind of student flat together in second year, and we just sat and watched TV all day, every day, went out to get a cheese board and some lambruni most nights. We did clubbing together, this after Christmas, that was our feral clubbing era, and it was the best time ever. We'd just be like on a Friday night, it would be like 8 p.m, we'd be like, oh, do you want to go out? Like, we never planned to go out unless it was like a Wednesday night uni social, which we went to all of them, and we were just known to be like the absolute crazy ones there, but we absolutely loved it. But when we went out, we'd get there for like 10 o'clock and then come back by like 1 a.m. Like, we were never out that late, and I was never hungover because we come back and eat the rest of our cheese board, and it was just the luxury life at uni, honestly. And again, like with her, like how I define kind of a best friend, and also this applies to a boyfriend as well, if you can spend time with them without really actively talking with them, if you can just spend time with them, like sitting, watching something or on your phone, that shows a good best friend, because you don't have to always be in a conversation, you don't always have to be kind of actively like together, if you know what I mean. But if you can literally just sit in each other's presence for like 4 hours, and that's how I define all my friends really, and my boyfriend. And I think that does show a good level of kind of like, not trust, but like what's the word, comfort. And like you can be comfortable around them, I guess, because you can just do whatever you want. But yeah, like I just think that that's what a best friend is to me. I think if I were to go back in time and tell kind of my like 12-year-old self as I started high school about friendships, I would say friendships are going to change. You do not have the same best friend, even if you think you do. You do not have the same best friend throughout high school, throughout your whole life, and you might have that one, like I do. But you're not going to see them all the time. You're probably going to fall out. Everyone falls out. You hit 14, girls, puberty, everything changes, and you're going to be raging bitches. And as like, I feel like if I had known that, I would have been like, heck yeah, whatever. Like, I wouldn't really understand it. But then when I had got to that point of losing my friends and being in kind of a dark place because of that, I would have been like, oh yeah, okay, so yeah. And if every girl knows that, I think there'd be less bitchiness between girls. And it is horrible. Like, I'm so glad I did not go to an all-girls school, because I've heard stories, like my friends have gone there, and I've heard stories, and it's just not good. And yeah, like there was a lot of drama with me at school with this one girl. I'm not gonna, well, actually no, there were two girls, and they were quite good friends, but yeah, I'm not really gonna name names, obviously. But yeah, and this was again when I was in lower sixth. This all happened in lower sixth, kind of around COVID as well. So yeah, that was a very bad time for me in sixth form, because obviously I was going through a lot and all this drama was happening. And actually I was voted most dramatic in the yearbook when we left school. So, and my sister was second place, because she always stuck up for me with all these kind of fights I had, not physical fights, but and all of these kind of what do you call it, this like dramatic arguments we'd have would be in front of everyone, like in the sixth form centre. And apparently I was the most dramatic when I was not, but I was like, please vote for me, I'm gonna get an award. And I did, and I'm just always gonna remember why. And yeah, but I just look back on high school now and I just think it's the funniest time. Like, we're all going through shit and we just kind of like be friends with whoever. And I really respect those people who don't really have friends but do have friends. Like, this one girl moved to our school in sixth form, and it was kind of obvious like she didn't want friends, but obviously she did. Like, she was the funniest girl, she was the most amazing girl. And we took her into our group again, and she was like so funny, and she was a really good friend. She was 1 year older, but she was in our year because she did a year out after GCSEs to go to Germany or something. Like, something happened like family wise, so she was in our year, and she was just the most amazing girl, to be fair. And she joined, and but it was obvious like we weren't going to keep in contact with her when she left, because she kind of just came to the school to do well, to get A levels, to get like the academic success kind of thing, kind of like as you would, like you come to school, you just get your grades, you go home, and that's what it was like. We didn't really see much of her like clubbing when we were in sixth form, like parties, like she wouldn't really come because she was just, no, I don't really want to hang out with you, but like not in a bad way. And I think because we were older, we respected that. We were like, I do respect that you just come in just to like come to the school, not to have friends. But obviously she was quite grateful that she did have friends. But now she's in Madrid. I've not heard from her since like the last day of school. She didn't even come to our kind of graduation. It's called King's Day. It's just like a kind of graduation, I guess. But she didn't even come to that, I don't think, which is quite funny. But yeah, like I really do think that everything just changes in high school. Like everything changes, and it's really easy to get into such a dark place, and everyone does during high school. And to that I would say, just remember that everyone does, because it's so easy to feel like you're alone during that when you're not. Everyone is feeling something in high school, whether it's going through a breakup, going through mental health issues, going through family issues, going through everything. You know what I mean? Like everyone's faced with a dark space, even if it's throughout your whole life of high school or just for like a year. And mine was like kind of like a roller coaster with how I felt. But my high school experience, to be fair, was decent. Like I can't say anything bad happened apart from friends and my own issues, you know what I mean? But all in all, like it was very, I don't know, it was a very good experience. Like I had really good friends, I had good teachers, I had good grades, you know, like there was no problem with that. But yeah, I just say that the main thing that did kind of make it a bad experience is my friendship groups. And again, with girls, there's always so much drama, and I do wish we had boys in our group as well, because we were kind of like the only group that didn't. But I mean, I still spoke to the boys. Like, as I said, I was at primary school with a lot of the kind of like popular people, so I did speak to them and I knew them. And my brother was the most popular guy in his year, 2 years above, so like I was kind of known in the school, which I think did help with kind of my confidence. Like I never wanted to feel like just another person. I wanted to feel like people knew me. And it was, again, really self-centered, but people didn't. Like, I love that experience of like when we joined hockey in kind of the senior years, when it was like year 11, 12 and 13 all in the same like first team and second team. I remember when I joined that, and my brother's year was still there in the last year at school, and they were like, oh my god, it's Fletcher's sister. And I just found that really funny, because they were like, oh my god, you're so good at hockey. And I don't know, I just love that. And like my brother would come home and be like, all the girls have been speaking about you today, and I'd be like, oh, I'm known in the school. And I just found that kind of cool. But yeah, one last tip I'd give for just high school in general: don't give a flying fuck what people think of you. Be yourself. And I know that can be so hard when there's so much judgment at school, but believe me, there's still judgment outside of school, to be honest. Like, there is still judgment everywhere you go. High school is the worst for it, sure, but you're going to face judgment wherever you go, so just be yourself. Like, don't compare yourself to others. That is the thief of joy, and I've spoken about that before. But comparing yourself to others in whatever way it is, whether it's your body, your academic success, how much money you have, kind of what hobbies you do, what people don't do, what they do, you know what I mean? Like, if you compare in any way, it's only going to end in tears. Like, I've learned a long time ago, stop comparing yourself to others. Like, people have different opportunities in life. You might think, oh my god, that person's so lucky, they've got this amazing job, they've got this amazing boyfriend, blah 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 blah. People are just lucky, and people are just in the right place at the right time. Like, that's what I've learned with the opportunities that I've had. I've stumbled across them. I've not worked towards them as such. I mean, I definitely have worked towards a lot of the opportunities I've been given, but again, you just kind of have to wait for the right time. I mean, that's kind of what I think. And yeah, if you're struggling with any friendships right now, just remember that if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. And with relationships, like, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. If it's not, then just let it go. Like, you might find each other in a few years' time and kind of rekindle that friendship or relationship, but don't beat yourself up on it. There's so many people out there that you can be friends with, and just find that one person that you really click with. And especially at uni, it's hard to make friends at uni, I get, like kind of outside your flat, because I feel like most of the time, like for example me, like my friends are in my flat, other than a few people on my course that I'm quite good friends with, and people in my flat from first year, we all live together in second year. So I really do think that just try with your friends in kind of like your accommodation, because they're the ones that are always going to be there for you. If you're having a breakdown, knock on someone's door, and you know what I mean. So really make that effort at uni. But I've spoken about uni quite a lot, so I'm not going to go into that one. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this episode. It was a bit of a different one, speaking about friendships, kind of talking about something relevant and not just me moaning and ranting about something random. So this one was a bit more structured. So I hope you enjoyed it, and please leave a rate, a review, share it to your friends, share it to anyone who needs to hear this right now, and I'll speak to you very soon. Goodbye.